Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
Joining me now live in the Kiwi studio, it is P Money.
Yeah, how are you, man?
Good, man. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to be here.
I gotta say, it has been an awfully long time. I don't think, in fact, I've spoken to you since Big Things or something.
Is that when it was? Because I was trying to figure. As soon as I saw you in the room, I was like, now, when was the last time I saw this man? Yeah, it's been a while.
I've seen you performing, I think, though, quite a bit since then. Yeah. Album out on, just come out on Monday.
Monday. It's called Everything. And we're off to a great start, man. People seem to like it. They're giving me lots of positive feedback, and that's a great thing.
Everything was that track that was released a while back?
Yeah, big single from about 18 months ago now.
Featuring Vince Harder?
Yeah, and that was a big tune for me, and also kind of... It indicated the little change of pace, little change of direction that I was doing, and sort of picking up the pace of my music, going more into a dance area, but also exploring other genres.
Yeah. Now, yes, when you say dance arena, what, the house sort of arena?
Yeah. Some of the things are definitely referencing house and fit in that category. Some things have a little bit more of like a soul or funk edge to it, maybe R&B even.
What was that? Why the change?
It was a combination of things. I think. To be completely frank, it was just that I was a little bit bored of what I was doing hip-hop wise, and I wasn't exciting myself. And a lot of the music that I was listening to, or like the hip-hop that I was being exposed to, wasn't exciting me either. I was, looking to the US acts that I'd followed for years, and I was just like, man, they're not inspiring me, I'm not inspiring myself, I need to look elsewhere just to get that vibe back, and the secret was quite simply just speeding the music up. I've been bouncing at that slow tempo for too long, man. I needed a bit of energy, and it really helped out, man. It's good.
You didn't discover drugs or something like that, did you?
No. It's funny, you're the first one to ask it, and I thought it would be an early question, eh? Because, there's definitely that correlation that seems to be made with the dance scene. But no, the process is still the same, just like digging through old funk and soul records and start listening to disco.
Yeah,
disco was like the next step.
you and me both, I think. Recently, I've started to rediscover some really old 12-inch singles from the late 70s.
Yeah.
And initially, I had no idea what time frame they came from. I was thinking, this sounds like maybe late 90s or something, or a few years ago.
Sure.
But astounding at the production levels and the type of sound back then it was great. It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was some phenomenal stuff, man. I mean, I gravitate more towards the poppier end of the spectrum with produced by the name of Nile Rodgers with the Chic organisation. People might not know his name, but would definitely know all of his tunes.
Okay.
And I was definitely like checking out a lot of that, and some of the music he did became the foundation for a lot of rap music as well. So it's kind of branches off the same tree.
Yeah. It's amazing that sort of time frame. Between 76 and 82 or around that time, how much of it was actually sampled as well. And has been referenced.
Oh, absolutely!
In more recent tracks,
heavily. A lot of those grooves, became the foundations for definitely hip hop and urban music for the last 20 years or so. Maybe not so much at the moment, because it seems to be very synthesized, in the hip hop world, and I'm not such a big fan of that either. I mean, talking over some synthesized music right now, but I like to go for. Even when using synths, I like to go a bit more analog and a bit more organic.
Okay.
That's kind of my thing.
Okay, so when you say analog, I mean, how simplistic are you going now with production?
And there's live bass lines on the record. Pull out the actual guitar, which doesn't happen that much in electronic music. It's always inside the computer. What else? Yeah, just analog synths like the Korg. Pulled out the old little baby micro Korg, just a little one. All manner of things.
Drum kit? Do you wheel out a drum kit?
No, the drums. I use the MPC, MPC 2000 sample like kicks and snares and play it. But then even the sample sources are from live things as opposed to drum machines. Although I try and best of both worlds. I'm not biased, but I like the overall feel to be a bit more natural.
Yeah. Have you spent any time overseas recently?
Yeah, last year. End of last year, I was in the UK for about 6 weeks, which was motivated due to an extremely high amount of airplay I was getting for the single Everything that you mentioned before.
Was that on BBC Radio 1?
Yeah, BBC Radio 1. We hired a plugger the plugger actually contacted me. He heard the song being played by a couple of DJs. He's like, what is the song? Where's it come from? I'm like, well, it's me, and here it is. And he's like, do you want someone to work it? I said, sure. So, you got to pay the man. And then, but he did such a fantastic job, bro. We got to B-list for about 3-4 weeks. which is a huge accomplishment. So there's 7 week span, I guess, of their song being thrashed on the radio.
So people who don't know that sort of radio lingo, so that's what, about 1 or 2 plays a day?
It was more than that.
Was it?
Somewhere, but yeah, probably like 4 to 8 a day. It was a lot. Yeah.
So people would have heard it going to work, coming home.
Yeah, it was
Making
all over
dinner.
the place. Yeah, and I even had expat, Kiwis that were like, "Hey man, I was in the UK in September and I heard your tune, and wow, how'd you make that happen?" And it was awesome. So I went over and while I was there, I did a couple tracks with a friend of mine named Ben, which actually made the album. And yeah, did some shows with Zane Lowe. He got me on tour with him. It was amazing. Great experience.
The DJing with Zane Lowe?
Yeah, he did a DJ tour. It was called the DJ Hero Tour, in conjunction with the game that came out. And he was headlining, and he put me on, basically to open up, and it was fantastic. Yeah, it was really good, man.
Yes. What about the gaming side of things? I mean, your music could lend itself to gaming soundtracks. Is that
Sure.
a place you're exploring?
Not directly, although just thought of something actually. Yeah, the Everything single's just been placed on a SingStar. We just did a deal with SingStar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So people can pretend to be Vince Harder.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's out yet, or I'm not sure if it's. They do add-ons.
Or you're not
online.
sure you're not sure you meant to say that just yet, or is it?
I think it's okay to say it,
yeah.
but I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those add-ons or if it's in the next edition of the game. But it's definitely been placed.
Either way, that is a great way to distribute music, and get it out there and get it heard and getting people involved with it.
Sure. I think with people like SingStar, they like to get kind of established hits, though. They don't really break music on SingStar, but the world of gaming is definitely good for exposing music to people, because if you get a game on the song on the menu screen on the game, it just gets stuck in someone's head, because you're always going back to the menu, right? So it's good. There's not as much money in video games as there used to be, because titles used to have maybe 10 to 12 songs, and now they have like 200 songs on the same game. So that same piece of the pie gets divided, amongst 200 people as opposed to a dozen. So the money gets a lot smaller.
So,
business end there.
Yeah. Well, what's a live P Money set like now? I mean, are you still on the wheels of steel, or do you bring out the synths and some of the analog instruments? And
up till today, it's still pretty much just 2 turntables and myself, and then I'll bring out the guest vocalists that are on the songs, whether that be someone like Scribe or David Dallas or PNC or Vince Harder. They'll join me. But the plan going forward for probably a bit later in the year, September-ish, for the album tour, is to create a stage show. So that may incorporate other musicians or and a few other bells and whistles, but I'm still putting it together in my head. Yeah,
you know how music goes in cycles. It's been probably 10 years now since the superstar DJs, the global underground tours, the John Digweeds and the Sarshes and whatnot, touring the world and going to all the main cities and then putting out CDs and stuff. Are we going to see a return, do you think? I mean, what's your feeling? I mean, is it going to come around again?
Yeah, kinda. I don't know, man. I can't really say whether it's going to get massive like that. But it's pretty strong, and the US have really started to open up to dance music more so than they did in the past. It was always a European thing, but the States are really getting their heads around this dance music thing. So there's an opportunity for new stars to rise, and people like DJ A-Track and stuff are starting to really get great gigs, just doing DJ sets and playing dance music to big rooms.
Cool.
So yeah, it could happen again, who knows?
Yeah. So the album has landed. It is called Everything. Who else is on it other than Vince?
Yeah, Vince Harder, PNC, David Dallas, Scribe, Aradna's on there, a couple of young vocalists, Miss J and Meryl Cassie, also make appearances, and a special guest, Milan Boric, formerly of Pluto's, singing on one song as well. So I might actually play that up next. When you're ready. To give you a surprise.
Well, why not? Let's hear it now. P Money, thanks so much for joining us and telling us all about the new album called Everything. Go out and get it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. This one here is called Falling Down, featuring Milan Boric. Bit of a change of pace from P Money.